Okay. I pushed for 3 hours and he did not budge. And I could tell the doctors were starting to get, a bit concerned. They put like one of the stress, one of those things on their head just to see if it's stressing his heart rate and stressing the baby out, just to keep a closer eye on him because he was in the canal for so long. And there was maternity doctor, OB, resident, and a couple nurses. Finally, they decided he is jammed, but the location of him, they're like, no cesarean, just we need to use forceps for a preemie and get him out. So they brought in the room, there was 9 between the pediatricians, OBs, nurses, residents. There was 9 people in the room, and they hiked me up. Now, my husband passes out with this kind of stuff. So the plan was always for him to be at the front with me at the head of the bed. Well, he couldn't even, it was like chaos. He had to leave the room because he was about to lose it. So he goes out of the room, and I'm like, this place is swarming. I'm exhausted. I haven't slept through the night. It's now like 4 p.m. in the afternoon the next day. I have not eaten anything, and I'm just like, get this baby out of me. I'm exhausted. So they put the forceps in. I didn't even think anything about it. And they put it in, and I pushed, and they were able to pull him out. It was such a chaos when he came out that they didn't, because I didn't know the gender of the baby. I was like, well, what is it? What did I have? Right? And they're like, right, a boy, right? And they rushed him off. The problem ended up being, they told me, was the umbilical cord was wrapped around him. So he was completely stuck. There's no way he was going to come out of me without it being a cesarean or assistance being pulled out. So an umbilical cord, that's why I pushed for 3 hours. They rushed him off, and they just continued to clean me up. I had a lot of post hemorrhage, and so they kept cleaning and pushing down on my stomach to get all of it out. And if you've ever had that, you know what I mean. It hurts. Like, even though I had an epidural, which they turned off, it killed. They're just pushing on my stomach, trying to get everything out, trying to clean everything up. So our son was born at 4:15 p.m. The pediatricians checked him out. They let Mike come in and see him and take some pictures of him. And he weighed 5 pounds, 4 ounces, and was 18 inches long. So relatively healthy for 34 weeks. Lungs were okay, everything was that, but just needed to be put in an incubator and tube fed. For me, I finally got my bleeding stopped, and they sent me up, and I was just exhausted. By the time I gave birth, I was awake for 32 and a half hours straight. And I had a snack at 9 p.m. that night, so I had not eaten any food 19 hours. 19 hours it was. So I was just wiped. My shakes were so severe afterwards. I was just shaking and trembling. Got really cold, had lost a lot of blood, hadn't had any food, hadn't had any sleep, and I was so sick to my stomach still. Oh, in that labor, I threw up twice. It was awful. During the pushing, I threw up in that 3-hour period. And so I had a gravel, and they tried to give me some supper, and I ate a little bit of that. But then, basically, after I was settled, and I just got into a wheelchair right away and went down and saw my baby to really see him. Like, I had held him in the room after the pediatricians checked him out. I held him for about 15 minutes, and then they took him away, which is the most unnatural thing a woman will ever experience. So he went down, and he was in the hospital for 2 weeks. So he was tube fed for a bit.